What's up, everyone? This is GQ Recommends. Today we're going to be talking about vintage tees, and we're going to show you how we wear them to the office. So vintage tees as a category is really broad, but there are subcategories within that, like vintage music tees, vintage novelty t-shirts, also vintage sportswear, like old ringer tees or old football t-shirts. And then there are just vintage blanks, plain, no graphics. They want something that has some character and some fading, distressing to it.
I think the benefit of vintage tees generally is that there's a story behind it, and whether that's one you make with it or that already came along with it when you bought it, there's going to be a narrative there.
Honestly, it's a really good conversation starter. It's something that someone can come up to you and have something to say about. You know, it's a bumper sticker that you can wear.
This is a vintage Pat Sajak t-shirt. He had his own talk show in the late 80s. I found it at this vintage store and I saw the back of it, which is sort of, you know, the hidden secret and the best part of it that sort of completes the joke. It's got one of those old school sort of 80s ringer tee fits, right? Where it's not like too billowy and big like a 90s tee and not too like skin tight like a tee from like the 60s, and it's really funny. This is just an outfit full of fun things that I love to wear all the time. These white pants are from Jound. Got my cowboy boots on. This striped blazer that's kind of preppy and kind of old school and kind of fun from a brand called Onslow. You know, the t-shirt sort of just ties it all together. There's a world in which wearing slacks and a blazer could come off really formal or dressy or stuffy. The t-shirt kind of helps to break things up and keep things fresh and fun.
I got this shirt in 2015 at Search and Destroy on St. Mark's. I was having a really deep fascination with the Insane Clown Posse, and it's really nice because whenever I wear it now, I'll kind of get a stranger giving me a gentle whoop whoop when I walk down the sidewalk. If I ever had the chance to go to a gathering, I would love to go. It has become kind of one of my favorite shirts. It's printed on a XL Stedman by Hanes shirt, really comfortable. Like, I'm convinced that vintage stores must wash all their shirts with like rocks and fabric softener, and that's why it's so perfect and slouchy. I think in order to make an Insane Clown Posse shirt appropriate for an office, I tried to dress it up a little bit. I put on just a white button down underneath, these Sherman-Williams branded Dickies. Just recently found them at a vintage store in Rockaway Beach, and a little Rachel Comey flat to make it business casual, as far as it can be.
This is a vintage Guy Harvey shirt that I bought on eBay. Guy Harvey is a fishing brand that I associate with like Southern frat guys. I just found myself wanting one for myself. It's fun to take it out of context. When you think about vintage shirts or even just like tees, I would say start with like what you're into. I don't skate, so I don't really want, you know, Supreme or Palace or whatever. I don't like the Grateful Dead really, so like the whole tie-dye thing is sort of off limits. But I do fish, so it's like, okay, I'm gonna get some fishing gear. The association with these sorts of shirts is usually it's like fish that you're gonna go out and kill. You know, it's like marlins or something. And I like that it was turtles because it's not that. It's just like appreciating like a nice looking animal. My office style is pretty low-key these days after the pandemic. I used to get dressed up for the office, but not so much anymore. I'm wearing vintage Levi 501s and Birkenstocks. These are a Jill Sander collaboration with Birkenstocks. Like I said, this is sort of like a frat guy brand, so it's probably more natural with like some pleated khaki shorts and like topsiders. So like some beat up old jeans and Birkenstocks is like a way to take it out of its, you know, context and freak it a little bit.
So this is my vintage t-shirt. It says Merv is the word. It's from a department store based in the West Coast that went bankrupt. It's like 1990s. I actually got this from my mom. Whenever I visit them at home, I'll just like go through their closet. My mom and my dad, they're both immigrated to California, so they don't really get rid of stuff, so there's just cool things lying around. And it's pretty cool because I feel like I'm like carrying my mom with me around in the city. So I'm wearing this shirt with a pair of sporty pants that I got at a vintage store in LA. Jean jacket's always solid go-to for the office because it's so chilly. Pairing with some Dunks. The reason why I love wearing t-shirts a lot is because I feel like the most confident, and I think that's the best thing about finding your personal style. I play sports too, so with Nike shoes, vintage track pants, it's me. I don't like to buy a lot of things unless I feel really good that I'm gonna wear it a lot of times. I know Big Sean has like a really big vintage tee collection. I like his collection because he also looks for shirts that speak to his history or interests. And I think that's what makes a good vintage tee. I recommend people look for vintage t-shirts in their parents' closets, honestly, where I got mine. There's so much gold to be found just like inside your own home. And there's like a cool story that you could tell. Parents' closets, the best vintage stores.
This is my favorite vintage tee. I bought it about a year ago and I wear it probably once a week. It's from early 90s, late 80s. It's kind of got this ironic motif going on here where it lists all the popular ad campaigns from that era and then says God is like the product that's ostensibly being advertised. On the back it says God is great. It's made out of cotton, fits super well, which I'm really picky about. So like the collar comes up pretty high and it won't wilt on you halfway through the day. It's pretty long and boxy too, which is typical of how tees would fit during that time. I think I've worn this t-shirt with like everything that I have in my closet. I've worn it with striped long shorts, flared dress pants, high-waisted trousers. I probably wear like some variation of this outfit once or twice a week. This is just Adidas, sneakers, vintage Levi's 505s, and tuxedo jacket, because I have to do something later tonight and I wanted to look somewhat put together. My hat is also vintage. I've never been to Santa Fe, have no plans of going. I would recommend looking at a store called Chickies Vintage in Williamsburg. That's where I bought this tee. They specialize in like art house, slightly off-kilter t-shirts. If that's your vibe, it's a good place to start.
The t-shirt I'm wearing today is just a plain white t-shirt, which maybe isn't so exciting, but I've had it for, I want to say since middle school. This brand is still around, and it's not one we often talk about, just a brand that you find at Kmart or something, RIP. It's called Allen Solly, but I think this tee is maybe from like, maybe 2000, 2001. This is definitely something I wear, pretty often. For me, it's all about the silhouette, really. I just have vintage Brooks Brothers pants. I just like how they drape a lot. And then mules from our legacy. These trousers are pressed and they have pleats and a crease. They're properly tailored. And then this is just like fucked up, I guess. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say like a moth hole ridden shirt is appropriate for the office unless you work at GQ or something, but maybe your boss is cool like that. I don't know. There are plenty of shops that I go to online or in person pretty regularly. Wyco Vintage, they have so many vintage t-shirts and they break it down by like era, by musician. Intramural is a really great shop. The tees that he carries aren't gonna be like, oh, an old AC/DC shirt. It's gonna be like a t-shirt from an old like furniture designer, or I think he recently had like a vintage Philip Glass t-shirt. So that's a really good one too.
I'm wearing a 1994 Benetton Formula One tee. I got it because I had gotten to F1 and gotten to Michael Schumacher and found out that he used to race for Benetton, and then found out that they made really awesome shirts. I was, scouring eBay and Etsy for any sort of like old Benetton shirt. I found out that it was from the year that Schumacher won his first driver's championship, and I was like, I gotta grab it. It's nice. I like the theme too. I like that like it's a racing shirt and I pair it with vintage German army trainers that kind of look like driving shoes. So it kind of all fits together. It's a little small, but I pair it with big pants. I do the big pants, tiny shirt look meme because you can't always choose your size with a vintage tee. SGA, he's got a crazy collection. He goes more with like the old rap tees than I do. Some people look really good in an old 90s beefy tee or like a boxy cut. I think it looks weird for my body, but what makes a good vintage tee is that you like it.
This is a shirt that was my mom's when she was in college, like late 80s, early 90s. I love it because it's one of those huge, easy shirts that just gets softer and softer every time you wear it. It's even like getting like really stretched out in the neck, little holes in the shoulder. It's super worn in, super comfy. This is a Varney shirt, Varney France. I hope I'm saying that right. It's one of those brands that you don't really hear of anymore, I feel, but it was kind of like the brand to have in the late 90s. And I was like doing a Google and you can find really cool ones on Gerald and stuff now. I'm wearing it with a Rowing Blazers tennis skirt. And then I just wore my New Balance because comfort, and I love the way it looks with a little American trench sock. Sometimes I might even like throw over a sweater over my shoulders, do a preppy look, or even a blazer and make it a little bit more dressy. I would say that I'm still growing my vintage tee collection and vintage collection overall. In New York, I love stock vintage and raggedy threads. Front Street General in Brooklyn is really good, but I have a lot of great pieces that I tend to steal from my parents' closet because they don't care about their old stuff from the 90s and 80s, but I think it's so cool. I'm like, where's this been hiding? Bring it back out, like let me wear it.